It's heartbreak for the Wildcats. Disappointing for Eltham.
The story of their night.
Unfortunately for Eltham, another one that got away.
And the men in red need to talk things over.
Eltham just want to go home at this point.
Eltham, another turnover.
The wheels are falling off for Eltham at the moment.
They entered 2024 with one mission, a championship. But the season didn't go to plan. By mid-year, the Wildcats sat in 12th. The turnaround.
Wildcats, they entered the den searching for a championship in 2024. They are the kings of the jungle.
So, what led to the success? Well, we heard it from the players themselves.
What was the moment where the belief that you could go all the way came from?
I reckon that was probably mid-season. Mid-season, we were bobbing up and down, win-loss, win-loss. It got to a point where we knew we had to turn a corner somehow. We started doing that. I reckon that was the moment, one of those wins mid-year where we started on our roll. That was probably very instrumental, getting us the energy to keep going.
I don't know if there's one moment, but I do think we knew we had something special as a group, and you sort of see that when nobody else is watching. It's more in the practice environment, or when we had a trip to Mount Gambier that you could see how connected the group was becoming, and I think those things give you the confidence to know that it's there. In terms of when we really knew, a couple of minutes to go in the final, probably,
We sort of just took it 1 week at a time. At least that was my mentality. It was like, next week doesn't matter if we can't win this week, right? So it literally probably wasn't until like a minute to go in the grand final when we're up however many points. And I'm like, I don't think they can come back from this, I'm like, damn, this is actually going to happen, My biggest takeaway, we had like in the beginning of the season last year, the first half of the season last year, we ended up being like 7-7 or 8-8 or something like that. We quite weren't wanting to be right there, and like that was probably the biggest turnaround for us, because after that last game we lost, being 8-8 or 7-7, whatever it was. I think we had a meeting that next practice, and we were like, what do we need to do to step it up? What do we need to do to get stuff right, to play the game that we want to play and be the best of our team? And so when we had that meeting, it was just like flat out from there. We ended up going on a really big win streak. And then it just took off from there.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced as a group?
I think we had some frustrating losses in the middle of the season. We were 8-8 at one point during the year. I think we knew we were good enough to really compete with the best teams, but we weren't showing that consistently enough. So it was about finding 4 quarters each week of our best performance, which we were struggling to put together for a while there. But as I said, we found a way to come together and find that consistency.
How important was the crowd?
Oh, huge. I mean, I think the impact, for example, what the crowd had was no bigger than the final we played at Frankston to get that game. You had maybe 100 people, if that, sort of 800 or 900 people in that gym, and our small portion of the crowd was so loud. I'm sure it got us over the line. Yeah, it was a crazy night.
It's like having a 6th player on the court. The fans here at Eltham, when we pack it out and you got the kids running up and down the sideline, and it's definitely an advantage to have. And maybe if the other team was going on a run, the crowd would definitely pick it up and give us energy on the court.
How do you feel being a part of a history now at the Wildcats, bringing that first senior men's championship home?
Yeah, I think it's just that. It's history, right? I think you're always going to be remembered as the team that has won the first senior men's title here at Eltham. That group of guys is always going to be remembered, and we're always going to get together and have reunions and talk about it. And I think that's the most important part. That's the part you remember. You know, already don't remember bits and pieces of the game, but it's the group that you're always going to be with and you know, share that memory with forever. So
it was great, man. Obviously, my first season at the club, win the championship. So I felt instantly, as soon as I came to the club, I felt a part of the team, a part of the culture. Making history as well is pretty special. It's going to be there forever. So being a part of that history that we made as a club and as a team, yeah, it's pretty special.
You know, I've been in Eltham for a while now. I remember the meeting I had with the CEO at the time, Greg Jeffers. I was coming over, and we were discussing, winning championships at the youth league level at the time. And when the stadium was built, it was huge for the club. And I was talking with him as well. We were talking about trying to fill the trophy cabinet outside, and I joked that it might take a while, and then 3 years later we're winning a championship. So
yeah, it's obviously pretty special to go down in history for the club as the first senior men's champion. I guess we just really hope that we leave the club in a better position than when we found it. It's more about the way we went about it too. We maybe didn't have the most talented group, but the way we played together, the way we cared for each other, we cared about the club as a whole. That's sort of the legacy everyone wants to leave behind for sure.
What's the most memorable game of the season for you?
I'm going to have to say the Frankston final. That shot that Glover hit at the end was insane. And to be on the bench when that happened and celebrate with him, it was just a great moment. And Frankston's one of the best teams in the league. And we always struggle against them. And to get that win, that was really special. And for me, that was kind of a moment where it was like, oh, we can really do this.
One out, Glover for the win. Oh! No way! Angus Glover! Angus Glover, that man has been unstoppable.
What makes this group so special?
So winning helps, right? that always feels a bit different. But I think if you look at the sum of all the parts, you actually see, young men that have played from under 12s at this club, played domestic juniors, under 9s at this club, all the way through to now being part of a group competing for an NBL1, which is the highest level you can achieve being associated with a club. Yeah. We're not a professional organisation like a United or a Sydney Kings. We're a club or association at this level, and this is the highest you can compete. So for me, I think, seeing some of, those young men that have been right through the pathway, and then you add in pieces that have been part of broader environments that can share some of that knowledge and help the group grow and develop. I think that's the exciting bit, right? And that's what I think made this group so special, is that it was an environment where everyone was actually making the most of that. They were leaning in on what it was like to play under 14s at Eltham versus what was it like to, go back-to-back with the Sydney Kings in Angus's example. So, and the ability of those guys to share that knowledge and the ability of guys to make the most of being on court and working with those guys is what made it a group in the end. Everyone respected each other.
This wasn't luck. This wasn't a fairy tale. This was belief, timing, and resilience. This was the turnaround.